God damn it, man. They got me. They fooled me. So Drive Away Dolls was directed by Ethan Coen, one half of the famous Coen brothers, yes, who brought you movies like The Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men, Raising Arizona. You know what I mean? Like, these are master classes in movie making, especially in comedy. Those of you who've been with me for a while, you know how much I love The Big Lebowski. And I saw a couple trailers for this one, and I saw that Ethan Coen was directing this one by himself, so I was like, might as well give it a whirl. So in search of a fresh start, two young women played by Margaret Qualley and Geraldine Viswanathan embark on an impromptu road trip to Tallahassee. But things quickly go awry when they cross paths with a group of inept criminals along the way. So, I mean, God, guys, God, where do I even start with this? How do you even begin to unpack this? Let me say one thing from the get-go. These two leading actresses, these two young ladies, are both great. Margaret Qualley, I remember from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Geraldine Viswanathan, I remember being in Blockers, which I thought was really funny. And I can certainly tell that these two girls are both throwing every ounce of energy they have into this thing. And I am pulling for them and their success so freaking much. I hope that down the line, both these women can be in better movies. Because I gotta tell you, Drive Away Dolls is not going to be it for them. Like, it is just appalling how bad this movie was. Like, my God, guys. Like, I unfortunately left this movie theater with more questions inside of me than answers. There was a good part of me that doesn't even really know what I just watched. And not in a good way. Like, there's certain movies that you watch, and it kind of is more effective if it's left open to your imagination. But this movie, you just really need all those answers to your questions to get some clarity of what this was even all about. And I feel like the trailers for this were a little bit misleading in a lot of cases, because I feel like deep down inside, this is a wacky romance. And it's a wacky comedic romance. And the reason why this movie is not effective for me isn't because of our two leads, because I definitely feel like they both have huge amounts of potential. And hell, huge amounts of potential together if they want to do more movies down the line. But for an hour and 24 minutes, like, this is a very zippy movie. Like, they wanted to get in and out. And they just have way too many small subplots that need to be wrapped up and tied up in a nice little bow by the end. That by the time you reach a resolution, the ending and how each of these stories actually is resolved, it comes off kind of pathetic in a lot of ways. Like, I'm serious. Like, that's the best you could come up with? Which leads me to probably my biggest issue with this movie isn't necessarily the direction. The editing in this movie is just an absolute hunk of nonsense. There's a lot of sequences involving Miley Cyrus in like a kaleidoscope image. I swear to God, these sequences have nothing to do with what the plot of this movie is. Like, they just exist. They're there. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around the purpose of those transitions. And speaking of transitions, there's a lot of like fancy little cuts where the screen will spin and you'll legit hear like whack-a-mole Looney Tunes sound effects to really slam it. You know, to add that comedic punch and that wacky effect. But it just comes off so second rate and D-level. Well, not to mention the editing of these sequences and how certain scenes are resolved. Like, some scenes aren't even resolved. Like, there'll be two different scenes going on. Like, it'll cut to a certain scene, you'll almost get a resolution. You'll cut to the beginning of another scene, and then you'll finally get the resolution of what that first scene was all about. But then, oh wait, we gotta go back to that other thing because we just showed you what that was. And it's like, dude, just focus on one thing and then move on to something else. Dear God, guys, this movie's giving me a headache. And dear Lord, there are just certain reveals of the valuables that these criminals are after. When you actually see what's inside this briefcase, like, what the fuck? Like, what's so valuable about this? Like, part of me was kind of thinking that they wouldn't show us what was in the briefcase at all. And if that was the case, I would have been very disappointed. And a little bit upset because I'm like, okay, what's so important about this silver briefcase? But now I'm kind of wishing I didn't see what was in there. Because I don't think I needed to see what was in there. And you want to talk about things that I can't really wrap my head around. Here's your roll call, by the way. How do you have a cast that is filled with the likes of Pedro Pascal, Colman Domingo, and Matt Damon, and you barely do a damn thing with any one of those three guys? Like, Pedro Pascal, I get it. He is a very, very busy man. What, with The Mandalorian, The Last of Us, and now The Fantastic Four is now on his docket? I get it. Having his only scene in the movie basically be what you see in the trailer, fine. He overacted the shit out of that scene too, and I was laughing my ass off. But the fact that he have a powerhouse like Colman Domingo and an Oscar winner in Matt Damon, and you barely do a damn thing with either one of them? Like, it's appalling. It is absolutely appalling, this movie. And I hate that I have to say this, because I wanted this movie to be so freaking good. Like, looking at the trailer, it looked like it could be something really freaking neat. Like, lesbian Bonnie and Clyde almost. Like, give me that. That's not what we got. What you get is probably one of the worst movies of 2024 once it's all said and done. Drive Away Dolls is an incoherent, absolute piece of nonsense with some of the worst editing I've ever seen in my life. And I think it's very apparent that Ethan Coen needs his brother to succeed as a director. I'm gonna give Drive Away Dolls an F. Like, this is one half of the team that made The Big Lebowski? Like, wrap your head around that. And let me know what you thought of Drive Away Dolls if you had a chance to see it down in the comments section below. What is your favorite Coen Brothers movie that you've ever seen? Loads that we can discuss and then some down in the comments over here, guys. Hopefully, as we hit the month of March, business will really pick up with a lot of great new releases, like Dune Part 2 comes to mind. And if you want to keep up to date with all the new releases and all new things in movies and entertainment, this is a great community to be a part of, and you guys have come to the right place. So please do consider subscribing and tap on that thumbs up as well. That would be a huge help. Guys, keep loving each other, keep loving the movies. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.